really be at all. Ambassador Navtej Sarna is former Indian ambassador to the US and to Israel. Daniel Fried, former diplomat, is also joining us. Appreciate both of you joining us. I want to come to you, Navtej Sarna, first, because you've been seeing what's happening in the last 72 hours. You've served in Israel, you've served in the US. Is this an operation, as many now believe, directed and driven by the Israelis, with America playing a supporting role and now struggling to actually come to terms with the Iranian retaliation?
Thank you, Rajdeep. I think that sort of sums it up, except I don't think the US is playing a supporting role. The US is doing a lot of major heavy lifting and is also suffering in terms of US assets right across West Asia. But yes, it is a war which has been undertaken by the US with the very active instigation of Prime Minister Netanyahu, and I don't think there's been any confusion on the part of Israel as to its objectives. They've been wanting to do this for a long time, and they have told Donald Trump that given the weakness of the Iranian regime, given the economic problems, given the weakening of the capacity in the June war, and given the protests recently, this is probably a great opportunity to remove the regime. And President Trump's, again, there was no confusion. He made it very clear he wants a regime change. Now, he may have realized that it was always a complex possibility. Iran has prepared for this moment, and whether anybody likes the regime or not is a separate matter. The fact is that this is not a regime, this is a regime which will fight to the end. And I think that is what we are seeing happening today.
Daniel Fried, do you believe, therefore, the US has underestimated Iran's capacity to retaliate? Perhaps Donald Trump believing that Tehran could be like Caracas and has got it badly wrong? Or is that premature to say? Do you believe that the sheer military might of the US and Israel will eventually see regime change? Or is regime change at all on the table anymore? You're on mute. You're on mute, Mr. Fried. Sorry, you're on mute.
Please excuse me.
Yeah,
no
yeah,
longer on mute. Thank you.
Yes.
It is difficult to overthrow a regime using air power alone. That seems pretty clear from wars over the last 85 years. It is also clear, it seems clear that the Iranian regime is going to fight hard and create as much destruction as possible in the region. It has done so in a way that has alienated the Gulf states and even caused the French, British, and Germans to issue a statement offering cooperation with the US in defending against Iranian attacks. This is a remarkable statement. Whether or not Trump succeeds in regime change, I can't say. But I have noticed, I think you've noticed also, that President Trump has expressed US objectives in a variety of ways. Regime change is one, negotiations is another, and some kind of practical arrangement with a new leadership without regime change is yet a third. That would be something along the Venezuelan model.
Okay.
Trump has not defined his war aims clearly, partly because he doesn't know how successful the war will be, how much damage, how many casualties the US will suffer, and whether or not he can succeed in his maximum objective. So he's holding out a variety of objectives, and he loves to keep his options open, as I think he's doing in this case.
Navtej Sarna, given what we are hearing from several of our guests in the United States, that Trump hasn't spelt out the clear objectives. What should India be doing? We've just heard Prime Minister Modi spoken to the King of Jordan. He spoke yesterday to the UAE leadership, expressed his support and solidarity. India has stayed silent on Ali Khamenei's death. There's no reports of India reaching out in that sense, although there was a conversation between our Foreign Minister Jaishankar and his Iranian counterpart, but nothing in the public domain in that sense in terms of any kind of sympathy or solidarity. Have we clearly picked a side? And our side at the moment is US-Israel. The Prime Minister was in Israel only last week. Does it give us less leverage in any way to even mention de-escalation? Will we be taken seriously by the Iranians in particular anymore?
I think Rajdeep, the things are moving at so fast a pace that yes, I think India should not be worried or be hesitant about where we were or who our friends are or who are not so friendly to us. This is the moment to get active, to talk to every partner. After all, our entire approach to West Asia has been to build up bilateral relations rather than go in for an overall regional approach. So we have equities with each of them, and we must exercise them now because this is in our interest. We have about 9 million people spread across the region. Our energy intake comes from that area to a very large extent. And whatever happens there, whatever instability comes there, is going to be impacting upon us. So I think this is the time for India to step up the game of talking to as many people, to try and play as much role as we can and ask for de-escalation without hesitation. If we are close to Israel, then we should put pressure on Israel. If we are close to any of the Gulf countries, which we are, then I think we need to work with them because that's in the interest of our people. A lot of our people are going to get in harm's way if this continues. So I think these conversations that have now begun with the King of Jordan and others, I think these are steps in the right direction and should continue.
Now, but what happens to any reach out at all to Iran? Are you saying that at the moment, given the turbulence and the fluctuating situation, India does not reach out in any manner to Iran and waits to see what happens? Because India seems to be playing the fact that we went to Israel only last week, just 48 hours before the attacks took place, clearly seems to suggest that we are in a multi-aligned world, aligned at the moment with Israeli interests. You don't agree?
Well,
why have we chosen not to say a word on Ali Khamenei? Why did we choose not to say even one word on the death of the Iranian supreme leader?
I think that is something which is being debated about in our domestic politics extensively. And I think there are several aspects to it. Yes, at one stage, he's a sitting head of state. And for any other country to come in and take out, no matter what kind of a person he is, I think, a transition of international law into an area of complete confusion. On the other hand, I think if you analyze statements of a lot of other countries, India has also gone on what is being called the national interest paradigm. A lot of the Europeans, a lot of the Gulf countries have not condemned the killing of Ali Khamenei. So we have been silent on that aspect. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I'm just trying to explain the policy behind it. At the same time, I think we have reached out to Iran. I think we have spoken to the Iranian foreign minister. And we are probably playing with the information that even within Iran, the society is today polarized. There are people who are mourning the death of their leader. There are people who are not so unhappy with the death of the leader, and that is within Iran. But I think we are a state outside, and at some stage we will have to take a line on what our stand is going to be in terms of international law. The fact remains today that no country is talking of international law. So India will have to choose its moment as to when do we start taking that line.
I'll push you once more, Mr. Sarna. Do we have a role to play, given that there are vast number of Indians in the Gulf, presumably? Do we really have that kind of leverage, you believe? Or given the volatile situation, it's best to stay out at the moment?
No, I don't think we have very great leverage in terms of the fact that, we can't go and tell somebody that, no, you stop shooting. We certainly don't have that kind of leverage. What we have is our own interest, and for our own interest, given the kind
Right.
of people that who are at risk there, we can use our friendships, we can choose our partnerships and keep speaking to people. But I agree with you entirely. This is a game which has gone beyond simply picking up the phone and talking to people. This is a
Right.
major war, it's a major conflagration in the Middle East, and it is only up to the United States and to Israel to make it come to a halt, and they will do it at a time of their choosing, or when Iran has pushed them into a position in which they begin to feel the price. And this is what the Iranian regime, which is going to fight to the end, is trying to
Right.
do by embroiling as many countries as possible. Donald Trump is not a man who would have said, I want 4 weeks of war. He's losing his MAGA base even. So I think the real players there are US, the Iranian regime, and Israel. And ultimately, I think we and many other countries, including Europe, have a very limited leverage on those decisions.
Okay. Navtej Sarna, Daniel Fried, for joining me. I appreciate both of you joining me on the show tonight. Thank you very much.